Nix 100.9 FM Suni. Now, and Wednesday, October 23, 2024. Time just about gone 16 minutes past 1. And then Wukwada. Na obubu obusumi ne womi ne da etoso aduonu emiensa. Afi empinu aduonu enan. Na mame se abodonko apahomiti edu ensia. Mema nti dwumadie ne de bremo. Dwumadie ya de primimenti eye neat FM de bremo no. Mi amide ho chia me yeframe ADAKABRI mamudu osioma. Na my senior co-character right in front of me here is the man of the moment. Majare Osayajima.
Wofenio.
The maestro.
Me wofeni.
Ably supported by Ohima Kwefriye na yade atnasie. Na fe no Kwefriye na chire no engineering production nyina no esi pagini kwadwo da me ado na so ono eno the proud owner of the contents of this show. Na panyin kwa joja miadu production no majero sajman na ebo ne chidom na kwefri ye ai wahima fefe eno no so service mrante kwa ne mienu no futabraba a obia enumbie na saa so na technical production so de abna frema abankro ai na ya safo wane na ehwe say technical production say social media handles bebiada ye Kelly headlines ni ade nyina no omo edi djuma ede emayen abrafrema ene nanaya safo na omudi sa djuma no ansa na engineering team no so de achu agbo worker batiako na jare na nabu age na adasa nkunuma da nyina sa mra ne se sempro na face so no ye facilities there big solo na dada na Godfred na yaw na mapuna na DJ Bosco na mail so ya sanmra ne se tey I just want to be bia edana papepe ene ensem no edoso papa edoso so asem kro no a di akoso with the Ghanaian Parliament inti wo hwe say the legislative arm of government Judiciary, right, and the executive arm no dear akosie ye the democracy ye shemu kena ana say obeka na say ye tutunase ye democracy no ye shemu kena ana ye tutunase parliament omo chefe womu executive arm no omo chefe womu the judicial arm no omo su chefe ewomu ye behwe na enu akire no na ene campaign no ayadan campaign no agu ana say ensankrofo na report na say dia no mo kan
engui over so kai say me no ti ana me ka tro say afi we elections ne dia campaign no say enkan style na twem na go for you were less than 2 months so you were be 1 month 11 days. Yes. So, be 1 month, 13 days, crana. They say you're 48. They be 48, 45. 45 days. So, until 1 month, 2 weeks, near Kwakotwaba. Na, said your kroma yana campaign, said your mono. Engui. Then, mom style na say, one more no. And no, na, ama, and soon as some modus operandi nasasa. Ba campaign ni de engui kra wo mu guso papa na enkane na betwe jamboree na amafo ginam wo mu ginam gide bowe wa ha ene ko esa de na
subtle
o de opa o de ko bo jamboree no obi nso ebenam fom
submarine
sa campaign no Professor Mills na mekai mi hu yi a o de ewura mo Professor Mills. Sabro no nama no ne amanfo edi ampoche wa ne ampoche menken na agrabe wo ka na ampoche akaw no so onama odi akaw ne makono na obi so nam na oteteka so wa jamboree wa so be hye eti say ne de said their campaign yente o man no ma pie baabi sa wo be hwa a ofo mo kwa womo enye boyo womo enko gina apampa so no ne ade sa o womo ye no door to door 1 to 1 nipa to nipa womo chiatia womo femfam wo de men femfam e wo de tera ho men femfam so say the city no e dey say ne dey asesa enti sa wo so obekọ no enka ne de ne bi de na waso be hye she womo tie simu so wo nkura na nkronkuma mu no enkurase no womo na mu papa womu na uza womu kwa na wama bankran kakra womu kwa na wama bankran kakra so because wama say ade no wama anya ahweni a wama anya ahweni a
ebe ha
no abefo ase eti campaign dey aginam na emom ne modus operandi na asesa
ma sofu pagiri
okay
Duncan Williams
what is it
obom pai bi na yentie pai
obom pai ma
yentie pai bon
okay
yentie sampai bon yentie sampai bon Majari na sɔfo mpaye na ɔbɔ mpaye ma yi
ɔbɔ mpaye ma ɔman Ghana
ɛne makaya taya
ɔbɔ mpaye ma Ghana
asa
yeah
enti dia na unya firi mpaye no
oh sɛ ne sɛ mɔka ne deɛ no ano yɛ nyina yɛhwehwɛ
sa
yɛpɛ obi a ɔman no ɛbɛda na kɔma so
30 bi man sama saba ho
oh
na mpaye ya kyerɛ sɛ wɔsi wailing and yɛpɛ ne sɛ in the bed ɔmo 4 walls kyerɛ sɛ ɔmbɛdi amia in their 4 walls ma me nsɛntie mpaye
ɔman Ghana na ɔbɔ mpaye ma
saa yɛntie mpaye bi mu na bi dɛ mpaye wei yɛntie bi mu majale ɛsɛ tu sɛ we mpaye paa ni o mpaye paa ni o yɛnsantie ɛyɛ sɔfo panyin mpaye ni bi mu na me nhwɛ sɛ ɛbɛkɔ sɛn yɛntie Majara ade bu afu
we na na
ejete ba no so emu bi mu na
oh
we de obebo okay
Ediani ni school mu enti na wotwe bi esese me send this command kora no wa wonim double track ho asem enti disa me hwehwe classes bi mo mo ye
oba metimu ha oyi ase pa o eno nti na NDC abaya ebeba no say obepeja adehua mu na waye free SHS ni ye
na we be ye den na bomu
wose double track no obeyiye free abo foto ato ama free SHS no agine ye eno nti aduanesem enya asem kese bia wo sukumu ho
wow we dia hosan kese be bra wofo ne school nkora no papa
no kura eno nti kacha wonamfunu mu nyina se want to abama John Mahama any NDC wo December 7 da ye koto aba
oh offer no shaking cry ye tu ye ho fo dada why na empa de pa
to abama nsakrai papa to abama John Mahama any NDC
our strength unity.
Hey, catch it. List ni nie. And you ma beto to dia me baba no ho ade no. Hwem so betumi a. Asew. Now beka. Ya John to mami ensa duku portmanteau. This way chocolate drink. Na kan wo hwe afibia so beri ni waware ni a. This way chocolate drink. Na kan sia. Asew. Wo den kan no ntumu ho. Me be mo anu nso hye kura de aka ho. Wo hwe de wepi ho. O ka se batete. Eda fom wo. This way chocolate drink.
Catch up a baba wari.
Asew.
Ye fi say this way chocolate drink ya sorry no pa no ne yenom ye bi hye fridge nom no se snack ye nya hoho a no ne de serve wo mo ye didi wie ne ye pe bibia bogu ya de so a this way chocolate drink ne yenom and this way no ti ano a he se kire wom kokko wom brick wom bibia wom ade wo hia ne so hye
This way chocolate drink.
de wo hia ani so hye
FDA ahwehwe se adwede nkratoe mu agye atum se eye
anokwa se de dialysis boy e den pao every see grandpa enya kidney yade na watwe bia 1002 ko enti ehye bia ni ho ye de beso wo ne a wo yade atete sei asene se o man mu ayedene
abotre
Debbie grandpa enti MPP abaye kire se wontimi nya bibia emfa saate bia we ho
Omanya wonwene ayarefo ho no saa man nankasa ayare neama ene nabusua komu ayetebia nipa bebre na mu wo man mu nanso eni daso ho magana fo nyina NDC John Mahama banya eba bio se obabo foto a watudin Mahama care di atai wo mo yade a etete senyechia ma omagye ayarehwe a ebi ye kidney yade cancer diabetes akoma yade sickle cell ene mojamroso yade sega na nikuta apomudin si echiba akrata na se wonkuta no obetumi akọ chips compound ani apomudi atan bi akọji ayaresa saa enhyehyeye yi ebema Ghana fo dodo no awo saa enyarewa yi bi eho ahanwom eye no kore Mahama dwene yen ho tu abama sakrai papa tu abama John Mahama ne NDC
What's cool, fresh and trendy with a new look? Makes you feel real good, that refreshing vibe. Satisfies you right just the way you like. Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? Ain't gotta do it alone. Specialized makes you flow. Anytime, anywhere. Specialized, feel different. Always think specialized. Special Ice Natural Mineral Water. Feel different. Think special. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the FDA.
NIT 100.9 FM so any. Yatuna see na me man tijumadi na de bremo. ADAKABRI mamudu na me di ho chia me of Asema Jerry. Osai adman. Obochidom ohima kwefriye enso ewa ha. Sofo na abọ mpa ya wie. Ni ajesu emin.
Sound na nka emi no ni ajesu.
O sa.
Dabi.
Edu sofo bọ mpa ya wie a. Onka emin na yenyesu emin.
Sofo bọ mpa na o endi ana ajesu emin.
Na we so wanka amen.
And there be a declarations no person would jefa no waje afa. Amen no kan waje. O kan waje.
Victor Odwin. Also good afternoon ADAKABRI. This prayer is wailing of a frustrated Bishop Duncan Williams. This prayer is only circling around his head. God does not listen to Osofo's cursing politicians. And are they cursing politicians?
Name one way. or you sue them and they. Who are they? Who are them?
Now say politicians are same no okay.
And
Or can power election in Amade definitely.
No case woman.
Eh, now we find some okay case.
A casing.
Well,
So for conscience, Cocotuaba, a casing. Some
Maybe a baby or
of
can say, one will be soon.
wailing in
a morning in their four walls. Within their four walls.
and the honey ye.
And it be a honor who
Also be more brother. It's not car princess will be more brother.
Yeah.
Now what you want me? Now we'll cut now we'll call Surahu matching. Will be more brother. Near the authority are sending some. Now I come to them. Now Sam Crawford one carrying Romo.
Wofa. Enye mpaye na besisa. Obi a waye na adwen se. Obeto aba. Ono sebi ono ankasa na adwen mu na ho. Na obeto ama obi a na adwen mu na e. Me pese me ka dem ka weti ho no. But we mpaye we ensesa hwe.
Sir.
Se nipa no sebi so obi wagimi a wagimi.
Oh, okay.
Enti ensesa sebi jimi fo adwen. Ema nen entoma sebi gina he nipa ni mpefe se ku afri ye ba anka obe odoman ga no betimi ahwe asiesie no no ai na adwen se me ye wo meto eyi pen party mu enti enu amu na meti a empa we nsesa na adwen da empa we nsesa na adwen opa ma ne party for ne mafia no ma ne common day na December ebe so na ye pay 2000 ye man 500 cedi ko bisa kwa kojan ato ai dede ato amom nti we die
empa o kesi obi
wo fam
Under say
nempa ye na obo
wo mo wa adwom bone no no ndo obo nempa ye
nempa ye na obo
enti cheze we be kan account
sandet ye
enko bia po
sandet we be kan
enko bia
wo fa enko bia
ose obi enam so na bua politician nya ba bi si ye ntino o de tumi ama no na obi efri bia North America we say o ye Ghana ni baba ye man kwan ma ne nye adwuma bia na nkonu mpo ebetimi ye bibia mboa o man Ghana but ye beka say we de wa amwa politician politician ni de tumi ma nipa o sponsor no jada onka hwe
wo fa kan de waka bibi na se mpa ye se enye nyankopon we na adwumoni adaje bi sa oni adaje na se san na te dan kan nipa ewu wa Ghana ebi nie san ko bi kwa ko bokro no nyankopon na wo hu direct we are not the ones to tell God that this is happening in the world come and see or do this to this person. He is the judge himself. If he wants to kill somebody, if he wants to hurt somebody, if he wants to destroy somebody, he will do it. You and I do not need to remind him. What I say entimpa we no nko bia
empire no nko bia
wofa empire be na ye mongu ya tamfo so obonsam empire be na Christopher ya ba be na ye mo no e de na ye nye no what has changed? Nothing.
Empire nyahwe
wofa enye say I'm not saying in general say empire nyahwe me ye Christo ni ntimi ntan anka say but empire bi ho no ma say ye tuetu nyame aso ye ha no
empire wo boy
wofa
Archbishop mu a ena say wa bompa ye hunu sa no
wofa ni ngam nam kan ye
empire wo boy wan fa bibia mfrim
wofa me say empire will not change the mind of a foolish person who wants to vote for whoever he wants to vote for.
Until would official empire no dedicated to just the political arena obi okoto abape.
I mean, so say asem dey ba obi abefa from an angle on no betimi aiden. Aka ho asema na nti me angle me ho na me sma. Exactly.
Wada room me ofa say. My yensanti so for ni bi. Na am sen so for the am empire no me maintain ye. Me ofa say. Maji, I'm maintain ye so in my main empire no metin ye
obetin some no can so no no o man punto no hwehwe e na ohia se ye benya wo me wa ahofama na mo adwem bone wo man no ho de
yes anti empire ne bi yenti empire ne bi yenti empire Enti Sofo Panyini Duncan Williams eno abon empire no. The empire no uta chira no age so amen on Facebook wall.
Hey.
Uta chira so they are not amen.
Madakasa.
Hey.
Madakasa.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk to na mutu na say
Papa Papa someone a bomb pie ma dollar no. Ghana cedi in dollar. I'm years back.
Me ma drink ketu an senka osofu empire ne de wa boy da Nyankopon ase. Yeah, ye tie no. Yeah, da nyame ase so wa bomb pie but also a very influential sanko to me use the 2 million no fan church ye ne mo fan educate here. Won say no nipa say ya dwebe say Nyankopon no bomb pie bia na target na ye nipa ohun. Enti no ne wa bomb pie ma Nyankopon ayate. Ya so ye ho educating akakwa e bia kwan e bia betumi afa so a we'll be doing the right things. But okan be say obi bua obi man win election, right? Not all the power man. They be an nipa no man to me na ejuma krone da she no no expertise no. Na obi free baby be somewhere outside the country aba. You betimi share in the good and bad side. Really, I am the one who is in this country and votes for the person. But what I say, I'm also taking it from another angle.
I said there was some challenge with the sound.
Okay, into no me and I'm a work home house. Okay, then I'm saying that on my scenario say obi on my fast we win or no ebi we win power no or the obi obo an man e ba power no maybe the position bi ama no na bi adwuma no expertise ni pa na nye den eni no no ni mo bi a ofi ekro bi mo aba Ghana ha no man ko betimi aboa ye hwe ne ye he ne ye ya ye nim se nkofo me bo anyway Jerry ni na na ekua na eto aba ya ma ADAKABRI. What I say? Na se frame bank of US about be adwuma no wenya ska me dwen am from a layman's point. Na me fa adwuma no man no ye fa ko na busu afa na de wo US. Na mo amobu am na 4 years time why na san beto aba ma me frame ana. Of out
also in Ghana ho sene o political
party.
Of it is true, I agree. But political parties no e jan fa na say me on the ticket of NPP.
The men not a political party more than a year or my Ghana. No.
Yati wafa.
No one idea.
Wakan yati.
Hey, but oh yeah, Atletico. There's all bomb pie no na ocean movements now.
Yeah.
Of our concord the basa. Me say me jan so dem na me to you. Na me share video later am say, hey, why no? Me ni baby na gini free bana so unkuto so sorry so wonya wo ho den yo wo ho. Enti na no de ho konkon de e ba jan.
Enti ni nyina ne say ahoboa ne yaye.
Sa pepepe.
Ye ne se de kan ye no. Se ye democracy no. E ko forma na se e ko so na gina. Ye legislative arm no. Womo eso HFA woman.
Yes.
Executive arm no. Chefa woman. Judiciary no so no. Chefa a woman. And a fourth estate no. Media no so no. Chefa a woman. Inti yabedwe. I say Sandra Banafune Kasai on Facebook Live. I say when you read Babin ruling on last week Thursday, he said when it comes to interpretation of the Constitution, it will rest on the Supreme Court. But according to him and per his understanding of the Constitution, he has declared the 4 seats vacant. And after, if Afenyo Markins has taken the issue to Supreme Court for interpretation, and yet the NDC are saying what the Speaker did is correct. Meanwhile, what he did wasn't based on law. It was per his understanding. So it's the Supreme Court that can assess what the Speaker did. So it was right that the Supreme Court suspended Speaker's opinion based on his ruling. And these people are on Sandra, and I see an ahome to maybe the Udimatema and Hamet. But please, unique category of people be Ghana ha or belong to a particular political party. You might say, Omunina Sebe in the Munyansa. And yet, what's my working? Who can you? Wouldn't him dear walking and now walking cancer. But when you had the attempt, dear can pet na a man kind iading.
Yeah.
Maybe no walk all the way about many Americano, meaning baby I won't form so in a war. So I know. And so no. Meaning what rather I better see bit you. Let me show in this person who did the group of persons be at a especially when they belong to a political party. I mean, why? And I won't say do I'm a possum, or your bows, or your bemo, wouldn't say them a possum. Don't know. But yeah, man, yes, sir. At the day be prepared, Yanam, why? Adams Yusuf, or the ADAKABRI, this is Adams Kaswa. The one who's only the answer about you. Hey, it is a bit. I just remember Mama Jerry Cramet and I have it. If it's a majority MPP, I remember you.
I don't say a day.
And the other next man opposite of MPP. Opposite of MPP a day.
Oh, maybe MPP, no. Or no, see a day.
Oh, I somebody new. And Nana be drew. Yanina no bribo in income.
Yeah.
Assembly or honor more. Na social issues be a. Na most of them the number dear fine. Mungo did them water. But I dare it me swear be free moon. Nebet me a ma or my moon yakwe and nemono. There was no tea. Ya men ma at him the day any when no kind. And I know bribo in come ye baby dino. Ye baby din como. Ashe. A year Supreme Court. A year and some bang. And now or your court of first instance. Aye de kono. Ye be din come so ye besa so ashe. A year Ghana Constitution about a year obi so obe forfeit in the seat. Say obe cross the carpet. Say was so cross from the party other than the Edinburgh Parliament. A dear na Ghana Constitution no our marker 97 a dear na eka. So no. And sana a year a dear no na ye gina so emrana ye gina so de to aba no Representation of the People's Act no. And also so no dear na eka efa membership ho. Nana no Nana Obribuahin. We an experienced lawyer. Uyi uka history. Na waka culture. Na waka constitution. Obribuahin a very great guy. Notwithstanding the political, you know. What tell us 3 years ubenya bibi afre no. Nana Obribuahin mo ha. Mpacha why are there pass one who says any no bribu ahini into no almost besa no akasa wa chire asema da ho ne say na no bribu ahin mo hwe ni pakro na meka Eichmann was a good afternoon warfare and Marjorie MPP did the needful not to fight the NDC but used the law and the speaker to obey the Supreme Court ruling. And Eichmann or Mönchengladbach, Germany, and what they buy. Vincent Kaba was a boss, good work, and what they buy. Abner Ampofu was a please. Why Obribuahin, who is biased? Because he's a political activist. Over ADAKABRI, please, can't you get a neutral person? And or they a buy. Obribuahin, ya biasa. Me must say, me busano a neutral question. It ne biasness no ube hunu ewo and into my parameters no be and common ebeko. Nana bedru. Nana medu ani monyam ne unhira nyina koma be ma bi na emum so sia de so mu e ma ha. Nana na ho te san.
O nyame ba wo ma.
Jo. And common afa Supreme Court adia ebemana ye court of first instance adia ye maswa no ye say we the Supreme Court no say de ko na we susu a ya hwe eye Ghana Constitution edien na eka ede efa eye at what point na obi ye beka say wa vacating the seat enunti senkanye say ye kwato abakura na ye nkonko by election ni loyalty na fe yem na mehwe Representation of the People's Act no and also so no dien na eka ede ekire yen ni nyina fa membership yi ho ye we are experience awo no ye de aba behwe say presently machinations are ekoso in the Ghanaian parliament no e depend your democracy and now say my democracy no akwa a laughing stock in quotation marks. Nana, why a crowd?
Yeah, my crowd. We can talk.
It does, Nana. Say at what point and now because the same way the Supreme Court and they seized with the mandate to deal with it when it is about a somewhere a sigana. The court of first instance, no Supreme Court, no the chapter will more come into.
Yo, okay, that's it. Sir, yanya history no be brave. Yanya history no be brave. Maybe I want to see where the interpretation. We see the yanya interpretation. Minko wachi to 4 versus the Attorney General. To 4 versus Attorney General here 1980 Ghana Law Report Digest.
I just say yeah, can case like a crabby. Amwakuntufo, Dr. Hila Leman, Elizabeth Ohene. Come in here.
Perfect. Amwakuntufo case, you know. It was Hila Leman who was the one to no person also Apollo.
Justice Apollo.
Justice Apollo. Now Apollo was Chief Justice. Now when Apollo, every year 1966, no. Omutu kwame nkrumah no
na menya ne mususu lawyer for me no na ejina mu edema eye amakutufo eye akufuado enchachuchi kata igusu tie hu
na yakufuado na chachuchi kata omna two lawyers so omuko ye no Randolph from raise objection say interpretation
and I Randolph na kan ye Joe Randolph no ya Attorney General Dr. Hilary Man.
Exactly.
But
Omuko we say about that interpretation. Daba nti akwa ko baby bebre. Nti no mekase meka tnade ebechi yen. But ebiso oho ekwa give say for interpretation. As the Supreme Court say enya interpretation. Ebine children's right, Center for Children's Rights, against Attorney General, and 2024, June 2024.
A bright appear Children's Rights International.
Very good. The Supreme Court said, any matter for interpretation. And hopefully, say, a lawyer for now, no crano, come here meticulous and come who say any matter for interpretation. But a bit of what? A matter for interpretation, but not case na koye moot. But Supreme Court went ahead. Mama, the case of Daniel Nelson Damasiako.
MP.
No, after 2020, about one. Now, as I said, DC is in MC, the baby for. But then you actually, and a chief of staff troll letter, Sebede Bentraho. For some time. Until Daniel Nelson, they call Supreme Court for interpretation. And Supreme Court, at the time, none or more than answer, no. The Attorney General raised issue, say, oh, they said, Omo, and the Mubinum, Ama, Omokra, Oma, BBA, in here. But the Supreme Court of Ghana can say, yeah, even though a mutuno, there's a possibility that action a basing a babu. Enti yan twaso. And I say then I'm a gache. And enti wam say you mutu die. Nan so yan twaso.
A year retired Supreme Court judge Nene Amagache.
Yeah. Then another funny one, no, I call Supreme Court and I jump off for the Attorney General.
A year go so jump off.
2010. And also Sabi, we them some answer me say Modiana Moody. Baba sweat if you know. Baba sweat.
A woman almost a latre pan, almost one.
Nana jump for. And another jump for you could tell 2 cases be a money didn't rada. The other one was latre pan, and Nebakoswa failing to attend chief's call.
I guess I was a chief no, a show cause why or some more.
I cannot let's say him from one qua between the woman process for do coco. But Nana jump of Kasa doing that, no, a young constitutional. And also court no Supreme Court, a jitum, Sayampa. Man, 2023, Supreme Court Bakubi, Kwam Bafo, and the Sabronia, the Attorney General.
What I say?
And so, Minam, yeah. Now, Kwam Bafo, by Minam, yeah. And so now, say, a first lady and a second lady. Under the democratic dispensation, among your official characters, and the state into me, and more Mohoka. And the Supreme Court did to Mr. Yampa, among your official characters. But your son called Bakubiso, and so a moment ruling no 2022. That one, Kwamba for Abronia versus the Attorney General. And so, me, I'm here. They call MPs are magic double salary. In fact, the tax on the Kwamba for Abronia versus Saruna Idrisu and others. I know, so me, I'm here. And I shouldn't. You know, you're filing a process in a year. Then they told us that a matter for interpretation. Yes, okay, and yeah, from November 2022, I've seen the ADAKABRI ruling no Semotiana Fo, the Sasa Bronsamna Fo, Semotiana Johnson Busu, Sabaifona Fo, Sahumachamna Fako, I've seen there. So it has been a case. It is other parties a double salary case. I am in a mayor. Now, the plaintiff in that case, a Kwamba for Bronya. But the entire Yentimim course should be only said because you per se, you say a matter for interpretation. But you see, a prepare a written. But the Supreme Court says a matter for interpretation. That's a baby ever call be High Court. But Benfa judgment in the mind, I've seen there, November 2022. So now, I'm not saying 23rd,
and then 23, yeah.
2024. Yes, some kind. And the Anagana for the party, the pen, the pair Iraniaco. Interestingly, in that case, I am in a Kwamba from a yarn, a dear Butum Sikaya. Yarn, a file petition. Yarn, a be. And for the point in time, you know, Savoy, apart from the Attorney General. And the MPs, you call as party for leave to serve them by substitute service. Publication in the graphic. We paid 12,000 Ghana cedis, 120 million from our own resources. Where ADAKABRI, a basa, which is a man, signal banner at the Beko. Nipa Bena, the Nibabre, man, semi-con, a protected man of BP. And at least there should have been a way or a means to be anchor as party crown, castate in fact, public. Daily graphic publication can state in fact. And so yeah, but okay, let's go. Yeah, because now, Mammy Sammy, I'm now back. Could be
no, me per se. Besides the commentary, no, per se who say at what point and Obekase Supreme Court no is seized with the is seen as the first court instance, and at what point and the be a lower court to be so when it comes to a matter of interpretation, Obekase yen stay near Supreme Court.
Yeah, when the matter borders on interpretation of a provision in the Constitution, then you go to the Supreme Court. Court to be any to me. That is place where I mean, speaker no, yes, MPs in nine no, but across the carpet no. Many speaker no nyagene. Many speaker no nyagene because we am common on the bed in Yakoba in a na babe interpretation. And the position of the law is that it is only the Supreme Court that is close of jurisdiction. It is only the Supreme Court and no other body that is close with jurisdiction.
Okay, and Nana, Supreme Court, interpretation. When the law is so clear, unambiguous, the Supreme Court.
I also said there will be problem now, but there are a lot of cases which have gone to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, the mama, because it is clear and unambiguous. But in this case, you know, speaker no, or the interpretation with torso, or an interpretation of the torso, say, So o makwa file ewie no de. And then or no fan say o makro so cap. So or the interpretation
or the interpretation to the so.
So those articles in 97
in 97 no speaker no reiterating the understanding on the 97 no. Nana in all fairness, we because 97 no unambiguous and yet clear. We require the Supreme Court to interpret Article 97 Nana.
ADAKABRI, it is not very simple matter, sir. There are instances you look at some of the proceedings at the Supreme Court where they say a clear and unambiguous interpretation. And so Supreme Court not to also a interpretation. The book is clear and unambiguous. In the available case, my name from in 1990s. Approach for me watch Dr. Beda Samoa. Men can say the body gas and as in security. Maybe call Wiesika. No, I'm going to call Circuit Court. I think that is 1993 or 1993.
As a case now, I'm going to find the Sikano and the name passed them.
Then, and Krabby Father, who was representing a police for me. I can say, Nasa Omaka Kofa, Dr. Beda Samoa, and your Republic. So Makofa NDC Fusika, and your Republic. And the other charge the Republic versus available. And the court had to stay, the circuit court had to stay the interpretation. Because lawyer Nkadi Father felt that, oh, we are clear. Yes, where we are. We are so we are Obiasika. Obera Samuesika. Obera Samuesika, no, NDC for an Amrano, or NDC for no Musika campaign man.
Or your co-chairman with Isifu Ali.
Yeah.
Or your co-chairman.
Co-chairman with Isifu Ali, and Naya with you. Naya as a Munufi.
And I just no, you're for your full chairman.
I think so. Starting chairman of the campaign team. So the Supreme Court said, say NDC Fusikakra, NDC, is a public institution. That is the interpretation.
Okay, the Yamra in the instance, no say, I Article 97 no speaker no taking the action or trade the entire wire the wire no. Say we rely on Article 97 no. They understand.
I want to make a
Yankin 97 1G no. Na you say a clear and now any clear now a subject of interpretation of Supreme Court and Article 97 no related to tenure of office of members. Now one no or say a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament and a Gino if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in Parliament as an independent candidate. Ambiguity be your baby, Nana.
Parliament or can Parliament. You're talking about the current Parliament because only you. You see, that is where ambiguity be banned. Is that statement, he seeks to be in Parliament? Is it making reference to such as the Panua independent candidate, Oh, no, showing MPP for Bashia Boom, no. I will file MPP, no. Say, yeah, no, obey MPP, and I say 7 December, yeah, got 12 by no big number MPP.
And some can be. I say,
the NDC, so, or a member of Parliament, you see. Are you saying, say, or Wakako file, say, that 7 December 2024, yeah, but Waba, Obejina as independent.
It's Yazanka 97 IBM. 97 1 or say a member of Parliament shall vacate his seat in Parliament and a 1G, and all can say if he leaves the party of which he was a member at the time of his election to Parliament to join another party or seeks to remain in Parliament as an independent member.
So, my interpretation, and which a lot of people also believe it. And yet, it is not referring to, say, you know, Oma NDC, you know, no file is 7 December. Obejinama as independent candidate, you know. Any MPP for no or more parliament say, no, almost 7 December, or make a content chrono. So, filing nomination, say, ya, and Cheres, where Jai, the position, no, where Jai MPP. But alright, as 7 December, yeah, Kotwaba, Minko Jinamu MPP, Leginamu as content crop. Independent candidate, you know. Also, just as the same year independent, but maybe we are seeing an Kaya say. So 7 December, Kotwaba, meaning as content crop, Legina as an MPP candidate.
Enti, a year 97 1G, you know, per your understanding, is it a subject of interpretation before the Supreme Court? Anna?
Yes, because we're free MPP and we're free NDC and we're just independent in Ababe MPP at this material time. We're free MPP, we're just MPP. We're free NDC, we're just NDC. We're just for your content chrono. At this material time, at 7 December, so let us go and look for the spirit and the letter of those provisions.
The spirit and the letter. Okay.
Yes, a matter for interpretation. More so, when the speaker, Utia, he purported to have relied on Makokwe's case. But
that precedent, no?
Yes. And that one also, no. Meneno Anyakana. Because you see, in the case
Nanami and Fanfrafra, with the young clear has say no keke wrong. If we are no the next step. If didn't I'm afraid one say no we bre a research. Now watch the idea. So no. And then to be because say no ye political advice our MPP so I didn't my friend. But it no idea. Now Nana one more can say Afenyo Markin echo Supreme Court and send a speaker no edi ruling ebeba na Afenyo Markin action no anticipatory into a koye no
baboa me ma wan nsi baboa wo mo boa
everybody na Afenyo Markin court
one say we Haruna Drusu no o can say parliament erusumua may raise the issue be said Baba ko file as independent candidate me kwako file issue no may raise it before the speaker na me raise ya speaker beka ho asem as a speaker kan ho asem a NDC for beba be majority. Haruna Idrisu, no officially, always here. And the already, and that's Afenyo Okoko. But whichever way, said that in Crampona Yentimi, Yenya papers into me. At a time when Speaker Neberman ruling, no, Haruna Idrisu drew his attention. So, Speaker. Wabeka sabako what you should that said me. Na o baba ma wo ruling no. Ma file process bi wo Supreme Court. Into process na ma file no. Okra we awe ano kan o so okra we awe se ma file bi. Enti yen twene Supreme Court asem. En na hono na okra so okra we awe no. Hona speaker no be ka se o. Na se Haruna Unim say, Yane Chief Justice. Oh, you should go for a conclave. A conclave, sir. I say, oh, my, say, Juada Bia and Sana, who say, oh, several speaker, now several member of parliament. A Juada and a Omono, I you agreement. I am not putting in that conclave, said, is she a me a such, ye effective such service? No, that one also is wrong. that one is wrong. Because
are you in agreement? Say, at the time na afenyo echo court no, the speaker on far ruling be am I
know from my.
Enti, at the time no, na afenyo akose Supreme Court enye emfa emano.
Oma, yenyina yenhu, so oje constitution mu a, se ba se obi ye MPP ni, no ko file for 7th December 2024 about one. But so doing no, where you know, if you not on your MPP nia, I have a fan so across the capital and now you know as Bashebegani no ana.
It not just in effect, no, na afenyo anticipated says speaker ebe rela on 97 no, and enti what year the Haruna Koi ekaya no. And what court say yen interpreting 97 no, and I am pa speaker so by no, and ni ruling no rely on 97 no.
And it has become a rely on 97 and the not just a interpretation.
It is our time no. Now what make us say a Supreme Court I entertaining anticipatory action ana.
A year follow now, file because the very day no speaker no a transfer yes or Berman ruling. To all intents and purposes, now file something I find on Tiana and Naso catches the speaker. My file crater now cry away. So the Omo pass of one Omunyam, Omuntimin, Omoba, Omoso Omonye, Omoba, Omosonye. And I have speaker catch it after and say, oh, I saw him say I yet conclave. Now conclave make it say. Yes, a Jordan born. So, by inference, no, not just a speaker, no, Yahweh, just that woman fans have one.
It's yeah, Kano. Na apenyo tremuche yene say dear anticipated the speaker be based on na one what ye a Haruna Sem. Any encounter with the speaker, the speaker no ma 2 days say be the moine bebano. Na oko court na ampa speaker ne ba yeso ba bia na osusu so de bepa no ehwa na ode fae na afede oko back to court okokoye fresh application say yen stay proceedings no cheche mu che sa legal tactic no.
Yeah, you see, let's come back to the legal profession in practice. Yakokoto na se ebia menfan say wako high court. Oko high court. Wakoye application be. Application no judge no wamani ruling. Wamani ruling no awie no. Ye wia ye betwa so. Case no so. But we no wetu asheda, wetu ashebia be na okay. Na lawyer no that very day no and na be bia ye computerized course ni bi no. Ne anachina nkra ruling no nsabeka. Now, lawyer Nako file application for sexual right to quash the ruling no judge in the and prohibition to prohibit that court from going on with that matter. Now, so file crampo na onono di our copy. Na enyan savo judge no enyan savo the interested party because the colleague on the other side will be an interested party. The one filing sexual right and prohibition, it will be directed against the High Court. Now, the lawyer no court no be a done son of free. No catch say, oh, me will judge me was some can. My filing, na no I buy now my ruling. My filing prohibition and sexual right. Now prohibition and sexual right. A bebaso dasi. Now you make several attempts to serve you. They make several attempts to serve you. Now you mean several. Judges be brainy or my say or call for say okay. Oh, start processing do what from now the ama judge or shy we are. Now the ama court clerk and say farmer lawyer on the other side is sunshine. Lawyer on the other side is sharp. And Pembe Brino, Numbers okay. And the moment I join said you abide by the outcome of the decision of the Supreme Court. But never you know what you
You follow pa.
But it should be by the Republic versus High Court. As party Canada or in Japan. And the Republic versus High Court. As party Canada or in Japan. While we're the first of the case. Canada or in Japan on the call High Court for contempt. On the call High Court for contempt. And no, my friend cries. I think the judge made an order, so I can't simply. Until one way, and in Japan, a danon tiapo, or mother, a medical form coco. Then the next day, and Kwabijan was the leading counsel for Canada in Japan. Now, and Raphael Japan.
Aye.
Good. So when they went to the High Court, and now, Kwabijan raised this issue, said, you are filing Supreme Court, you are filing prohibition. Now you have to file another process of sexual rights. 2-1, okay. The judge who was handling the matter, I think, it was Wuntanya now. There's a one judge. Yeah, Wuntanya. It was something. But for avoidance of the man, I'm for dinner. Let's go to the substantive issue because the judge said, well, so I filed a prohibition at the Supreme Court and it's a Sharia, and have been prohibited from going on. That matter became a tussle between the lawyers for Canada, Japan, and the judge. It was a banter. Then the matter was adjourned. So the issue which came up for discussion in the legal arena and said, "The judge no come no way say Supreme Court no and prohibiting one specifically onyai onchani and on koto." So there's a school of thought which says that say you're in prohibitiwa koso. But I hold that view, say no, I am wrong. To demonstrate respect for the judiciary.
Because notice of it was enough rather than a separate event saying order.
Very good. A specific order. Yeah. Because you see, the judiciary, and the executive and the lawmaking body.
Nana baby, I need the ask me by you say whether the 97 1G, ambiguous that requires interpretation of the Supreme Court or not.
Within the given situation.
Okay. Nana, an Act of Parliament, Representation of the People Act 1992, PNDC Law 284, especially Section 25 and Section 26. Mamin Kinkai on Famang. Also, determination of certain questions as to membership of the Parliament. Any question as to whether in a public election the seat of any member of the Parliament has become vacant may be referred to and determined by the High Court on a petition presented by the Attorney General. And then the 26th, that is talks about the procedure, or see the 26th one, or see the rules of procedure for presentation and hearing of a petition under this part shall be the same as the rules of procedure applicable to a civil cause or matter before the High Court. And I should add this information beginning from a year Kojo Anan Ankoma, lawyer Ace Ankoma, and I throw away publicly our social media. Now, what do you say to that?
Yes, but you see, like say you apply cito sensu in this particular case. Only you not kind of say you better procedure and send your civil case. So So in this particular one, the VBI say the breach of the natural justice rule. In this particular case, because it was a decision taken by the speaker, and that decision he took affected the legal and constitutional rights of some members of parliament, NIPA and Minor, and the rules of natural justice. In so many cases, as I said, because that decision the speaker took, 13 time more vacating, more cross carpet. But looking at the facts and the circumstances, can you say they were Haruna petition or the Korean? Were those people involved?
It's in an you know. Na issue no. Is it?
Because upon the receipt of that petition, also Kasanya Muma or copy norms ENT or responses.
It is the same.
This will be the MPP for the now, or Modema Esiama said, yeah, you were free. Platinum, that letter to the speaker, the MPP copied. They copied Esiama. And you know, you cannot invoke the audio term party in this particular because Esiama cannot say one more an opportunity to be heard.
It is not say no. Speaker Nasemi, watch them. I was anka otie a fan so agony. See, I say a day. PNDC law 284 in a year. Juma, watch them. That is, in fact, an act of parliament. A director said, "Yes, senior baby." And then what's actually?
Let me representation. Maybe there is a interpretation, and it is only and only the Supreme Court that is.
But at least no. Tamami Musa, I'm casa watch the idea. It is in one breath.
I'm sorry, Martin.
In one breath, 97 no speaker no rely on opinion court no. A subject of interpretation. And exactly. And the Beshano and representation of the People's Act so now a matter of procedure of which I would say the other side must also be heard. Is there and rely on?
Yeah, first, you know, even if it's a matter of interpretation, if it's a matter of interpretation, media, me not going to say, I see I now will come, see I now will come, and yet Juma within this context, me not going to know, and yet Juma, because
the representation of the People's Act does not talk about interpretation. It talks about what happens when one does this or that. And 97 also talks about leaving your party to join another party.
Yes, sir. Speaker no, or no, or sometime, you know, 97 or no one cosiano. And he says, the young fan say, Namle go a person on a year come myself.
But you go to because Nipa be so agony. So, no.
Yeah. Oh, okay. But I am of the firm belief, sir, that provision, no, our rely on is inappropriate within the given situation. But mpo, say Rebecca say appropriate, na proper. And on one who said there's a breach of natural justice rule. It is no crime na speaker no be issue. And no crime no. There's a breach of natural justice rule.
Nana, do you agree, sir? Ghana has say no. As a legal fraternity no, who interpret legal actions with political lenses and be it is
like a Tuguba no or interview na say New York and I want to what you know cancer. I say a lawyer for no any politicians and issue we ban your interpretation. There should be legal interpretation and then political interpretation.
Because we can say we MPP ni Emma Bram Pofukra objective. And I mean, there have been another with your experience, constitutional interpretation, your understanding. The whole country Ghana, Lewin, after an awoken.
Lewin, I can't tell sir.
And then Lewin, I went to see us in Ghana, the whole world. Yani ya tosu say 8 as ya tosu say 10. People with low IQ, won't they?
The winner confirm means that the whole country when I'm a topo.
And me person who said now. What is here say the country yeah number 10 the whole world yani what from pass say Ike Wolo.
Oh, now just say okay, le win abo my passport what the other can say ya Ike you.
You mate. In my making guy.
Mami only happen popo. Musuba nya yam to aso.
Okay, yeah to aso no. My making kan dey ba ko a lawyer ba ko dey aba. Na making kan dey ba ko so a geologist ba ko so dey aba. Lawyer necessary. As a boss. The problem with the fraternity is that most of us are interpreting legal actions with political lenses. The court erred in admitting the flawed process, but having given its ruling, we all have to abide the full process so that they can find redemption. And the Supreme Court needs redemption, and they have an opportunity in the final determination of this application to find it. Mr. Speaker has attempted to do. I pray that redemption comes and comes quickly. I know you're a lawyer, Nina, that you're the buy.
No, maintenance, yeah, maintenance. So no kind of maintenance here. Because you see, when I say that, look, now a matter of interpretation. And it is only the Supreme Court that is close with jurisdiction. You may hold a contrary view. But and therefore the Supreme Court also, or the decision be about. And that decision now the Supreme Court of the Abba. Whether I say Sabio Midakasam, I have flawed, faulty, wrong, inappropriate, nullity. The law is that you must obey, you must respect until it takes steps to have seen set aside. This have got nothing to do with MPP or NDC or CPP or Kuyadonko or Kufia Palo. No. I mean, I'm being factual and honest. We can decide cases Samak authorities Samakan. Who be BBS me, the crime MPP Nimapa. But also may a fair minded person. Yen yes, you are the intino. When we say echo. Who's a man can't be so na me MPP for nay, the ones I may come. I don't behave like that. The lawyer not the no Canadian, no, but I'm saying the bottom line. But
at least no lawyer they can't say. The Supreme Court erred in entertaining the process now. My emphasis. I think you're the buyer, no? What do you make of that?
No, I disagree. I disagree with the lawyer. I disagree. It is a process which has been filed. In all cases since before Ghana attained independence, in all cases, I border on interpretation. No? Yeah, the court na and we invoke the jurisdiction properly. To send your Mokati me kwamba for doubles arena and doubles arrogance. One say I'm invoke because it needs jurisdiction. Yeah, bayachi for ruling in Somalia and Yam Kwa, Atosa Sabraha. Cases if you are a team who say, where they are straightforward, because where they are for interpretation. But Supreme Court man interpretation. Case if you cry, I am moot. You just say I am moot in Kenya because when you are defining mootness, and also a
okay, ape miemra action no a buy no. Nana, can you imagine the Abema Apenyo on that day? Wabusa say going as party. What me akasi yamani 10 days within which a beer speaker beba having been notified of action no. A DNA buy into Busa 10 days.
Yeah, one. And the S party, depending upon the facts and the circumstances, every court has the jurisdiction, so be your S party. District court to work, second court to work, high court to work, court of appeal work, Supreme Court to work. Then the 10 days. S party, no, say, yang 10 days, the lifespan of S party application, S party order, the 10 days. The lifespan. So, Yama 10 days. But I find your kind for avoidance of doubt and ease of reference.
Yes.
It's a find your kind on
no, nobody is saying what, but then we want to find out. I don't know about 10 days. Let's say they will see ease of reference. If I could finish, Nana, if I could finish. Nipa no buy wabusa 10 days. And I want to confirm say usually 10 days and for ease of reference near the 10 days as well. So can you tell us What must have been the underlying reasoning? A man, a court, no, a man indefinite period.
Indefinite period, sir. Because our mama was 10 days. It is a court no cry man with 10 days. Now your expert here, 10 days you do no on notice and no.
And to a no buy no. Say beyond those susu. Say I'm past to tie the court to can be within 10 days no. I be speaker and so on so babu no swaba. Na afenyo so abechire masem kro na ne de betentam so. Na ye pese ehunu ade kro ntia consequential order ne ba say e indefinite na nkwankoye apenyo 10 days no busaye no. For the stay.
So baba man 10 days no nkire say apenyo be fa no say e indefinite. So baba man 10 days no apenyo no be fa no say e 10 days. Apenyo no dey be fa no say the last span of expert no e 10 days. Last span of expert no 10 days. Enti say womono anka say ebia e 10 days ye de yamam expert no. Na expert na ho odene. E bro 10 days no dia. E court no exercising her powers. The court has those inherent jurisdiction, inherent
but
powers.
I think your 10 days no nana. Was it not a thing understanding? Sister Siano, what call expert here walking? Meaning technically on one akoboni crutch judge no say Mr. Adewe, one mammy to me, I'm young fan Kusianoa, be to me I say irreparable damage be or how be beba. By the time I be a bit dias and baby and name dibima, Sadi and Yentiman reverse no. It is so 10 days, within 10 days, no. Yesu say ni pakrono, ya CC no. Also by Yahobwa, not this time the Ababijina George, Yababijina wenim. I've heard you no can say more ria. And the person who said, Yena, beyond a fenono, court no yentia. Court nanka say yes, or 10 days near the amount. Yes, stay speaker no, any ruling no, for the 10-day period. Obviously, you know, after 10 days, I think you bet me a sack of repeat. I'm a bet me a Sunday man. So tell us, in your mind, at the end of my court, no, I go beyond a your 10 days, no. I'm a narrative for buyer, no. A buyer say, hey, I suspend this speaker, no, action, no, indefinitely. Tell us.
Yeah, the circumstances of the case. The circumstances of the case. The documents filed, the documents presented, the exhibits presented, the submission by counsel. So the circumstances of the case.
So somebody could suggest you are crying, the court may be crying more than the bereaved?
No, depending upon the facts, because even why the entire case depending upon the facts and the circumstances. A do cry why a typical expert. Judge in a free case now, or some real case now. Over expert. And then so may order say. But on notice, may order. Over expert. The machine crowding. This is not a case.
But in this particular instance, in Naswasha, said the court asked within 7 days. Speakers when you're never so young, no be yamra, na yamra machine and cancer. It is 7 days would have been within the 10 days. A fenyo share. Inti still I know would do any boo a kai with legal experience. Diana, a man court no go beyond a year. A fenyo 10 days. Ubusayano.
The circumstances of the case, the exigency of the situation, the national aspiration, the nature of the case, the parties involved, the release being sought for. What in eventual answer? And here be a conglomeration of all these factors.
And a kaboom. Okay, I feel a honor ye see her. Ye best ba abetwaso. Say how did Afenyo interpret a event saying what had happened at the court? How did the speaker interpret what had happened at the court? How did the NDC interpret what had happened at the court? Ye best abetwaso. But before then, conclave na sem by Emma can say when the speaker referred to what in his view a conclave of speaker and chief justice and possibly executive branch, you know, says Sebase Parliament, MPB, you be serve no, and a speaker be you be serve na. You agree common framework ye de be yes na as part of the common framework, no, yanya no dwada wosi da bi onti asie come into
you see you have the CI, you have the LI, you have the EI, you have the laws. No constitution na supreme. Constitution na ebe wo CI. What I say 47. The constitution wo CI 47. The CI 47 no provision be wom. Na the constitution no bra. Yes, I was tracking down that provision in the CI. CI no provision be wom. Na say any constitution no bo bra. Yes, I was tracking down. The supreme, the constitution is supreme. Now, party biya ye party biya. And it is a macro file in the right. Now, catch them and say, na ye against an MP. No, go catch them and say, just a Jordan Kwan the best seven one. It's yabra because ye mra no chere say obia ye be file no right against. I say yes seven.
So, if it's true, as Babin tells us, if it's true, as the Right Honorable Speaker of Parliament tells us, and say Chief Justice is in agreement, a coincidence to the Babin Kayefa conclave, then you are saying the Chief Justice had
the two of them. That conduct, that decision they've taken is unconstitutional.
And now we have only heard it from Babin. Yenti mo IBM free. Chief Justice and until the Yebusa say ya no cre that the Babin canon. Chief Justice so agiatum and my woman in aquapam say Speaker MPO giving ye understanding say on his way to Parliament to conduct business. Yenti say no. And until say ope MPB ope Speaker a juada and a momra na mome serve one no. You are saying say Speaker ni Babin energies adding to man. It goes beyond. It goes contrary to accepted CI and a procedure.
Yes, because you cannot single after that member of Parliament, because your constitution is or court and now of whereby young for processing seven and your constitution will be unco challenge here. But I know Kurano sometimes debating they say Breben or co Breben of whereby. Because Ubekaya, when NDC was in power, Atachia conducted a case for a Sunyani businessman.
J. Adam.
I made a memo, Jawan or
okay, Atachia conducted a case before a year. Tachiman based and I say Sunyani based.
Tachiman based in any base into a trap.
Because it's you.
So the man took Atachia to court, High Court. Now, attaching a court, no Parliament, sorry, and I'm the process. Now, attaching raised that, woman just so it became a heated debate, and the position I move a bring fast say, yeah, no more NDC. Those days they were in power, but mention ye because or any Obama said the year Jumadia, it is a cutting across. But it shouldn't look like NDC is in power. Into MPB or qua, and then they're running in Ejuma.
Okay.
Do you know that in that particular case in crime, they had to admit Atachia to bail? That particular case, okay.
I said, lawyer, don't say, client account and our office account. Into client account, no touch na a lawyer, no so say, fees. The fees, no so much free client account no more. Obviously, say implications. I want
but I'm saying something can say be a way deep man for. But I'm talking about our Parliament and now of whereby interpretation be back that in this speaker and the Chief Justice say, yeah, conclave for me say MP be a so person Samankata 7-1. Yes, Jordan. That is wrong. Because for instance, I'm in say there's a high court in Bolega. Now MPB for Wasasi or Bolega. na wasama no Bolega High Court. Assassin so wo Bolega. MP no so yenu so ote Bolega. Na bia waba be banda na wukuada. Awo Bolega. Then we have been told there be 17. Just a Jordan. Is that how we should take it?
I know a separate forum. Na yakwako kan. Asemo ya ama speaker anka. Ebi ananka. Your friend say that's him say Emma.
Sentina make us say a yampa. But you know the upper yampa to hono young home so.
Yampa to near home so because yakwe enemy no. You be suya no ma bebre say law abua me democracy na yashemu kena. And our law abuama a democracy now has become a farce. And you beba begin on that. Would you beba begin on now, Nana? Time yes, stay no a buyer narrative noir a free mu a buyer no. Share the actions of MPP as per Apenyo and in the groupings. Let's share the actions of the NDC at forcing and in the grouping. And then the speaker as an independent person in Parliament, in between the two. Sign as you know.
As a lawyer, I may admire the responses of Afenyo Maki. And so on you be, na me baby cry, or yes, I interview and say, despite media, honor baby, yeah. Also, yeah, dear, young Kokotoko. Young dear, obo muntaka. No. Haruna Grisi. No obo ato force. No obo because here the young kokontokwa. Marana ebamana ye adwuma. Na nya dia ye kokontokwa. Ye de mara be ye adwuma. Me pe wo mo de no. Unlike Sam George. The half walk now wo me ya na North Tongu. So tie no kan. Osio ye de yan tiase judiciary no kra ba be wing of the MPP. A be wing of the MPP. Enti ye de yan tiase ye de majority. Okay bibia ye ntie judiciary no be wing of the MPP enti ade chen ye kwa ye de be ko majority no side. I think that in honesty a member of parliament you should be moderate in your presentation.
Nana, perception of citizens. So, kuachi time na miami ni apanyini na ese kwa me prempe deputy attorney general. And Simbia Biba about how people perceive the judiciary. And then recent time in the Volta region was a Kandapa as national security minister. And also commenting on the perception of the citizens on the performance of the judiciary. We are well aware, some Crawford free say, as one group in Sibidia, there be umudibim, ewo court, Emoma shall say, atototo, a year judges, especially superior courts, no, a year Supreme Court, no, yatutu omudini.
Oh, but I know your casa, you betty. After forcing at the Court of Appeal, he was acquitted at the start. And the Court of Appeal, no, essentially paid in the Vidima. Yeah, no, I'm after forcing at the Court of Appeal. After forcing at the Court of Appeal, he was acquitted and discharged 2-1. And also, Overcome say, let me be very honest and sincere, sir. Yes, the bottom line. That people's perception of the judiciary, you know.
Oh, but Nana, who follow case now? Wouldn't you see here at the High Court level and send or more Court of Appeal? Now, applications are more filed at the High Court level. Notwithstanding about say more case. For the Court of Appeal, no. As also admitted, no, maybe a man by Nana. Point your person can say, do you agree? Some Crawford a war adverse perception of the courts, especially at the Supreme Court level,
No, the truth of the matter. Let me be very honest. I've been in the
I don't know the truth. That is why I'm talking about perception.
No, the truth of the matter. I've been a private practitioner for 34 solid years.
Ache kai Supreme Court judge kura na nkenchen.
Anka na nchen me ADAKABRI. But honestly, in my candid opinion, people's perception of the judiciary, apart from.
Okay.
I may be wrong, I may be right.
Mm-hmm.
I may be wrong, I may be right. This is the position of Nana Obribwa. So the people's perception of the judiciary, apart from.
Okay. I feel yamra political antis ne. Na
and as a country, we need to be very, very, very serious. Mamema, critical example, me case. The title of the case here, Golden Age Company Limited versus Nana Obribwa.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Age Company Limited versus Nana Obribwa. The matter came before the Supreme Court of Ghana. I wrote a petition to the Chief Justice. The Chief Justice set up a committee. The committee met twice or thrice. But the first day of the committee sitting, John Nifuno. Then later, the matter was adjourned because committee no report to me into Yanko. Yebesi Bema Yaswati. ADAKABRI net yefu me bi anyi na so montin. Mantehwe bio. Committee no report am bio. No ho one day no bi be ka kire me say Supreme Court of Ghana o mabua masem no. O mabua me fo. Supreme Court of Ghana o mabua masem no. O mabua me fo.
Ayanyi wasutire.
Obi anyi wasutire. So I wrote to the Supreme Court for the processes and proceedings of the day. Now, only ADAKABRI in room.
I mean,
appellant present.
Mm-hmm.
Appellant represented by Mr. Susu and Sue.
Mm-hmm.
Look, there's a plaintiff respondent present.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a Golden Age Company.
Mm-hmm.
Golden Age plaintiff respondent representative present.
Mm-hmm.
Counsel for plaintiff respondent lawyer Susu and Sue present.
Mm-hmm.
Appellant Nana Obribwa absent.
Ya trafu achi.
Would it by court? Hearing notice was served on Felix Obribwa.
Ya wauni kitwa lawyer kitwa wo enso nyame chambers.
Me wa fast here. Listen to the Supreme Court of Ghana.
Yegusu tie.
It is deemed as service on Nana Obribwa.
This is
the highest court of the land, Ghana. ADAKABRI Midonyami Hataso.
Such a monumental mistake.
Wait, monumental po. No one.
A monumental idea.
A gargantuan monumental.
No. Because it's you.
Unpardonable. Now, at the time the Supreme Court sat on the matter, the very day they delivered the judgment, no man for some come home. No man for some on come home. But his name appeared.
That was sitting on the case.
At that time, now my lawyer has filed notice of withdrawal of legal representation. And the plaintiff respondent's lawyer has been served.
Or foreknowledge of it.
I have foreknowledge. But the highest court of the land, Ghana, I say service on Felix Obribwa is deemed as service on Nana Obribwa.
Your type we say black and white brewo.
Okay.
Your type way black and white the brewo.
But type I'm here. Now, opening investors be. I frame be a brochure me make a central investor. Would you say me when you're going to invest in Africa, you need to be extra careful.
It is a way we can to buttress the point to say a year forward a negative adverse perception of the Supreme Court.
Of the judiciary, of the Supreme Court.
Judiciary.
Yeah, a Supreme Court to ADAKABRI.
The Judiciary Administration of Justice, a man
for perception above na manfo kan me obriba me nka say kawa no pado ene jai me work because me I've been a victim of that. And you know what has happened? ADAKABRI yes.
Come in here.
I've gone back to the High Court to issue a writ. That judgment was taken by recourse to fraud.
Oi.
Okay, now my particular is fraud.
I just said such judgment was obtained by fraud.
Exactly.
Hey, nah.
Now this case may perhaps open the floodgate for every Ghanaian. Because how can the whole Supreme Court of Ghana
make such a gargantuan monumental mistake?
Irreparable and unpardonable fatwa.
Subject to say ubedi bim ami ho sampama yam from so.
Now this one the onus is not on me because if the Supreme Court of Ghana say service on Phyllis Obribwine is deemed as service of Nano Obribwine. What to do with yourself? Okay,
so finally, Nana. Said the union lawyer back on a car and said Supreme Court needs redemption. Nana Omu said.
No, Communion lawyer, no, you understand. We think that the judiciary, young cancer, they need redemption. But I just go better than Wakoka.
Better than Wakoka. Yeah, lawyer knows trust as well. Miss me Bonnie dear more. Tianuan said Nana Wadaruma. Yachiwa near Chips Macahu. Yajina Honomanaja. Milord. That
you know, and my great born, or my idea power. 5-2. You shall not. But my brother, you
football. And then this is another gentleman who is also saying he's a journalist. And then he goes, the only reason the Supreme Court granted the stay was to buy time for the government to whistle its way through Parliament. Forget about the actual case. The court clearly isn't interested in it. They will eventually back the speaker, but only when the government has its way with Parliament. And let's be real, this isn't the... So eventually, there see a redemption, or see this court will eventually back the speaker. And this journalist is also saying eventually the court will back the speaker.
So eventually the court will disagree with the speaker. Amen.
Yati. Afeno. Wunia. What's the referee? Majority a uboy kotu ye. Uboy kotu ye sa wudo re ashe eye emremu. Inti wo twentwen so na emremu ye de dwumano a. Afi the speaker na de asemi abeto yi. But as be bebeto wono ma. And then go for on one for Suya. And they just say, your match pass it, and they confirm massy, and then your friend said, Chichiweri, and they go confirm. I paid the idea. Yes, I on a serious note, yes, I buy Anana. Speaker, you be translating and Rabna, Yashedi see ya. Was our boycott? Oh, boycott, and the speaker say, Abo, no, mammy, you know. Quorum, dear, you were quorum. Name Mono. And numbers to take decision yeni and unti yenina yen sanko kotenefi eye sini die ena yenina sanko fi abido se there be me sanko trigger Parliament recall of Parliament politically what's happening
politically and legally. I will never side. I will side with Afenyo Maki.
Oh, there will be a can be a winner 20 marking ya junior nana with independence and you can want no
politically, morally, legally, I will side with Afenyo Maki. Look, in Parliament, I cannot say no more crucial. I can't knock it to it. So I can't knock it to have no more crucial. Or more Juma be brave. A Juman should be brave. As I said, I buy a caution. Government administration should go on. Governance should go on. And to ADAKABRI, you can say, you speak no kind, you speak no your back coin. And ye, opposition forms. That's what I said that to make governance impossible. Not just life will come to a standstill.
Okay.
It really said, Afenyo Markins. I think Afenyo Markins is right. Our colleagues in the end, they should they should go on and ensure Parliament that's the thing. Now, yes, or no my. Catch and this for no say. Over so your majority, your polling station, your you, your tokrum. If you want to be in the majority, you go to the polling station. I want to be more majority.
Nah, leadership of the MPP in Parliament, were they really up to it in whipping up their membership? Because I say Ushemwa, and I would say it's the leadership of the MPP, not the parliamentary MPP. Said dear ma mutina say ma pay members wait me wase near for 50 membership. I pay they say I been MP for me no na sem say kukuru no mo de jamti e hono free no discipline our party no.
Oh, why not? I mean, it's a human institution. Both MPP and DC. It's a human institution. Yes, Rabofo now no more able mind. It's a human institution. So it would be wrong to say there's no discipline.
That people say discipline will party no no nana man can say discipline.
It's a human institution. Who hear me?
Aye tipa.
Sir, ya ko Roma sorry no. Ya ko Roma sorry no. Yes, yan catechism. Catechism no. Ansa bebo was you Roma mu na ba sha odana no. Yes, yan catechism.
Okay.
Na catechism no, omo bi sa say Nyankopon no le boy e de egu yasim ha. Eye say ye mehwe. We are sene ye na sede.
Okay.
Awe na ADAKABRI we na mre bi min kwa bre na nko bi sa sofo se. Sofo no nsi Nyankopon no boy nyina. Na bronsem so be dadai. Wo so be dadai nti Nyankopon no bowo. Obo Lucifer Nyankopon wo hu se ombe dadai.
Yo.
Sofo we friend no Augustine Santos you obribo ha misa sa question na kwara misa sa asem no.
Kwala musa sa asem no.
Yeah, the point I want to make is that MPP or NDC a human institution.
Yo.
And look, every human institution, a psychologists, sociologists, anthropologists will tell you, say, negative, baby. Anything a friend say human institution.
You. Nana, so don't
say that NDC indiscipline. Don't say that MPP indiscipline.
You.
But the point I raise is very important. Is that I've been a lawyer for so many years that the perception of the ordinary Ghanaian towards the judiciary,
okay.
Now it behoves on all of us. Again, people are saying, NDC are saying, CPP are saying, and you're him, and your journalists are saying, if we don't take care, when the confidence of the judiciary is gradually and slowly coming down, we need to be up and doing. With the Anyam yourself,
okay, yeah, do.
ADAKABRI, what we need to from Minoka say, yes, suffering be team.
Yes,
I must be very candid with my presentation.
Yeah, there was a part. We spent.
Abraham Professor, who's the name of Cassette, say,
you've ended very well. If we spent 70 minutes with you, with that 70 minutes, Nana. Anyway, yes, I work for and Quani Yanoi, Nana Yamen Nana, Ubribuahin, and Yatin, having spent 70 minutes with Ubribuahin. Amaliba, Haruna, Amaliba Kingsley Haruna in the studios, representing the NDC, and then Engineer Prekope, Bema Fefe. One also so Bababi Drew, as usual.
ADAKABRI Mamudu. ADAKABRI Mamudu. And what you move? Hey, that's how I am going. ADAKABRI Mamudu.
That's so bad. I really, as I don't know, and you go so. My general Sergeant, my name, Kwajo Damiado, and now he might be free, and now I should share you, my dear, me, the better translation. 70 minutes of Obribuahin. Amaliba, what do you make of his sermon?
Wafa, my main chia na main chia bushon for ajibreti ewie. Na main chia engineer. Na chia kasi yoson koma wone team, and me part mun penifo ina so. Wafa. Sir, abrante museum kakra ne de. Ye kan sembina efa na sami beto dwana efa atemmo dwumaku no ho a. Aya na media ahokeka so no nko bi na me didi sanche nsem na chi. Esan say omanya ye wo mu na wiase ye timi. Ye won krofuku kakra bi na ebri bia no omo betimi adi oman nanim na mo bu oman na tan. Na atemmuo tumi oman no dia shomo nsa. Na sa tumi no ehu pa. Esan say otemmuafo e wo tumi say oba gimi no mi no atiyen kwa free nsema anytime. Whether that judge applied the law or not is a different matter. But Oko appeal, they say you go and meet the human beings there. So, enti atemwafo ye nipa bia ye de nidie any bua e sombo pa na de ma omo. Eno tin ye from my lord, your ladyship or your lordship. Womo nko an ye de lord e ma omo. Some say they are God in human society. Na empempenso omugina no ehu bi ewo oman ni mu efa omo ho sanse mpenisa aboa ne huhu na wen nefu but aboa we dey sabi odidi 2 million wen ho. Do you get it? And ye ne dey sa 2 million ma omo ene sa twa ye ho esuro omo san 2 million dey ma omo nti lawyer obribo ahen woni ne kasa ye na mo nkomo ne ekọ na wie ye no o kansamo a ono a atono the Supreme Court. Now, as I saw him running for nti, onim nie na was say, oh yeah, because as a 37 years or so standing, 34 years standing in the bar, he's a senior most lawyer in the bar. And he didn't know who he has seen all. He has practiced law. He has seen all. He knows his left and right. And he knows his worth in the legal system. And he quickly went to the Supreme Court to ask for record of proceedings. How many lawyers would have had that thought to go back and demand the details of proceedings? Of course, no one some okay. Say yes, sir. You know what say?
Felix, no faster no.
No faster no. As the process I say as deemed as one year 7 no. I mean, how can the apex court make such a mistake? But we shouldn't forget a human institution. Now, the ban political interference in the court, even before I come to the political interference, there is what we call presumption of judicial impartiality and reasonable apprehension of bias. What does that mean? So, yet there are some at the better judge anymore. In that concept of presumption of judicial impartiality, it presupposes on the face value that when we appear before a judge, we presume that that judge will be impartial. On take his side. Ajomanfo mi no omotifie. Ajomanfo sabi mi no omotifie.
Ema na mema.
Ema no omotifie 224. Ena mu ina awo. Omokowo mmema.
One ni tutu ni.
Wafa. The story na canon. Until media. I am just telling what the story says. But for interpretation of who is there. Engineering tell no dia beboa enti ye nkweni wo for wada roma.
Muki kansem wo.
Na da roma, wada we nkweni. Engineering tell ma beboa.
Say oti tutu ase aka.
Ana omo ana baako
atutu fuo mienu awo.
Yes.
Yanyinsa awo.
Omu nyina yinsa awo na omotifie. Omo ko wo ya wo mmema.
Oma wo mema.
Yes, obi awo bema. Ena baako ada ne ba so kunu.
Solomonic verdict na wo be.
Asem na no for who asem. We ye Ghana court decide here. And Solomon court there's asem the court so. Ena omo di akwara no baako de ne ba no course sa baako ne ba no. No se na dwo sorry ye. Na open so man ne ba no fo no hwe na kwara na wu. Upon a close examination, no, akwara ne the bano. Na mum ba ko no de ne ba no abesesa ne de no. Asane sie na why na wo ho. Na Solomon wo ho bi. And in the court of law, we don't talk about truth, but we talk about law. And the law dwells on the facts. And it is applied based on the facts and the evidence before the court, or available before the court at the time of Eddie Asamno. Solomon, aseme ubu ani saying, and man who na ufi ho. Na uni ho, uno munti fi ho. Say why ne cannot cry and oversee. Say nipa ni nko court on. Between the two, they know who is telling the lie among themselves. They know who is telling the lie. No, meaning who is withholding what information from the court. Good. And now Solomon, yeah, adwene bi say. Nyawa Solomon Bible wants some neaka. What pie ure mo apagu Solomon be. Nyawa some neaka wa.
Yakusutie.
Solomon say okay, no problem. Samusen kola ne ye, we see anaba dia. Obra for ono say ahenkwa we, bra me se kan. Na me ncha kola no mienu. No be anje peace enko, at least all of you have a share. Ni akola ni na ba no say David. Farmer no at least anye bibia no akola no he will be alive.
Yes, a motherly love.
Do you get it? Solomon restrained himself from the matter. And he applied the wisdom to deal with the issue and settle it. So the judge should not take sides, whether economic interests, political interests, social interests, etc. However, Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., in his Harvard Law Review, Volume 10, The Path of the Law, which is very profound, was the prophecies of what the court will do, in fact, and nothing more pretentious is what I mean by the law. In other words, according to Oliver Wendell Holmes Jr., who is an American constitutional realist, was when you go to court, the socio-economic, political, the philosophical orientation of the judge comes to play when it comes to his interpretation of the law. And Utina, you're in a different method, including modern purposive approach of interpreting the law. We demand that memorandum and bill like they call Parliament, executive they call, all documents must be considered in order to arrive at the proper interpretation of the law. But for the Americans, say, Otemwa for the assembly to anymore. Regardless of your social interests, your political interests, your economic interests, etc., let the law prevail. That makes you a judge that society is looking for. There is a case which was decided in 1993-1994. Yes, that's a Ghana law report. That's volume 393, Supreme Court, at page 396. I'm one such JSC as it then was. I can't be. Now for Tia Samoa, his lordship, I can't at that time. After the overthrow of the Nkrumah regime, the judiciary came in for a marked criticism for the role it had played while the previous government was in power. It has said that it had departed from a traditional role as an independent arm of government and had become a willing tool of repression in the hands of the executive. It was also said that some of the appointment to the bench had been politically motivated in that person. It was also said that some of the appointments to the bench had been politically motivated in that person with known sympathies for the regime had been favored over those who exhibited an independent frame of mind. Worse still, it was said that some of the judges had become so depraved and demoralized that they habitually took bribes. The answer of the new administration was the wholesale dismissal of judges, cleaning the Augean staples, as it were, and appointing new ones to take their place. And offer. If this is the precedent in the past and the perception of the not even the public government in the past, I am with the view that Omampeni Kufuado, as we say, he's a lawyer himself, should have restrained himself from appointing people who are politically exposed to his party into the bench.
Amaliba Kingsley Haruna of the NDC Natin. Now, let's see Engineer Peter Njubuesiako. Na in between on Sosono, Ura Solomon Usu of the Movement for Change Sosuaba. Entientie engineer and we are so time for union government ana. Time for government of national unity ana. Mientie we dear see.
ADAKABRI. Lawyer, make sure we na make sure
I'm concentrated now we have a country.
Minian Maminomo I share her on this program. Na make sure at you phone so. ADAKABRI on say asem we are abeto abontian yeke ho asem the last few days ni ama Ghana ha especially national capital ha Accra ha na you see the issue we are dealing with now has three phases. One, it has a political phase. Second, it has legal phase. And thirdly, it has common sense phase. But I'm surprised we seem to be dealing more with legal and political. We're not looking at the common sense aspect of the whole issue. You see, I'm not here to speak as a practicing lawyer. I'm here to deal with this issue with common sense. Now, I think we need to adopt good practices in this country. Other than that, democracy now, you see, we're going to end up destroying ourselves and the whole country if we cannot adopt good practices. ADAKABRI. You see, I've seen people try to blame or insult or undermine our judiciary, the Supreme Court, just because near Supreme Court na nyanisa. I have not seen anything wrong with what the Supreme Court did. Secondly, I have not also seen any mistake with the decision or the pronouncement made by the Speaker of Parliament. That is my view. I have not seen anything wrong with it. I have also not seen anything wrong with the position taken by our majority leader, Utimi, taking a swift decision to salvage the situation by going to the Supreme Court. These three things, abua pa. Mebo yen majority leader Abaso Afanyo, that he has saved us as a party, as a government, and as a nation. Sure, I'm going to make some comments. Now, I know some people will not be happy. And some people...
And you know them.
I mean, some of them maybe to my own party, and some of them to NDC, and everybody. What I say. You see, ADAKABRI, the issue we are dealing with, it be my quote to say, there should be a natural justice in this matter. Meanwhile, we have some laws in this country that does not give respect to natural justice. It is even in our the national constitution, the political party constitution, one. I mean, it is in our party constitution, we say, so we a member of the party and you happen to stand on any political platform belonging to the opposition party. That's who declare support for that party. That from that time onwards, you are no more a member. You forfeit your membership of the party. The same way, if you are a member of parliament, and I am surprised that people are not looking at the selfish decision taken by some members of parliament. This damage by democracy. Ghana. the selfish, and the greediness. We're looking at somewhere wrongly. If you look at the greediness of our own members of parliament, the selfish attitude of some of them. Can you imagine? Look, you see, we are dealing. People have not looked at the permutation of the numbers. If you scale it down, the issue we are dealing with, we are lucky, say, we have less than 2 months to go into this election. The issue at hand, and it's so serious. And we happen to have taken a decision today because my party, if we allow this to go, it's going to affect us, and this is going to make propaganda. But then this is what we do. So and this is what we corporate. I'm telling you, all members, and this is what we do. And that is why anytime they go to court, they fail. No, it's not condemned. I'm going to explain to you why.
You won't do that.
You see?
There be a cassette. I said, "Ma, ubi free say one group ubi ni minyansa na one group."
No, let me see. Oma jumu nyedu. That has been omu nyina. That has been omu nyina. And you can make a common.
Why? You see?
NDC
has been in government for 16 out of 32 years of the fourth democratic.
We ended up in doom, so it doesn't matter.
Notwithstanding,
the point I'm making, let me flow. You understand me?
But you wouldn't use certain words and especially.
Obi timide a bim die kodifo because of their behavior and pronouncement. When you have common sense, natural modwa, unfa bim die kodifo that. This matter was a very good. Please, can you stop what you're doing? Stop laughing. It's not good. I'm making a point. And Obi the bim kodifo. Obi timide the bim die kodifo. And this had a very good case in this matter. And yet their behavior alone, Emma omu lusu, omu bim die omo. Look, if you're going by law, to me, say NPP or majority in parliament, the party itself should have even issued a fair statement to declare the seat by the two MPs now, or more eco-independent, vacant. The party should have done that, in my view, just as we did in 2020. Because if you don't try to practice this as a country, as a political party, the danger we are breeding in the country is that it will get to a point. It will get to a point when a member of parliament on the ticket of a political party can decide, say, I am a very popular man in my constituency. The next election, I want to be on the ticket of NDC or the opponent party, and you can't say anything. The party will be crippled if you don't take principles. What the principles and convictions? Exactly. What the two members of parliament on the side of NPP did and the one on NDC did is tantamount to declaring, say, I am a member of opposition party, because so declares Oko independent. It's not different from saying, say, the next election, I want to be on the ticket of NDC. If you're a member of NPP, yes, the two are not different. The two things are not different. Declaring, say, going forward. You see, if you look at the framers of the Constitution, the reason why they put in all this, and they say, the moment you declare or cross carpet to join another party whilst you're a member of parliament, it means that your loyalty and commitment to the party going forward from that time now declare, will not be the same. And also a declaration of intent. Declaration of intent. That means that if I declare, say, going forward from today, I want to be on the ticket of the day of election. From the day I declare, say, I want to be on the ticket of NDC before the election. Going forward from that time, your commitment and loyalty to the party that took you to parliament will not be the same. Will not be the same. The same way, if you're a member of parliament, you go through the processes in the party nationally. A local election, you call primaries. That's a whole lose. Now, for be job on thing catch the party, and if you are saying, say, party na me call parliament, my call primaries, my lose. And going forward, I want to go independent. In other words, you are going against the person that has been sponsored by the party in that constituency. The danger is that the possibility of you taking some votes and then the Nipana party taking some votes for the opponent to slip through is very high. That is why all these are in our constitution. So the moment you declare your intention, say, I am going against the party, you forfeit your membership in the party. That's why I said,
you know, yet who was a yesterday, yes, I lunch Martin say, me free MPP mu. Na me ko independent no. I was MPP for the Nigerian chance to Nigerian chain. I suppose to senka ye train ye ko to aba no a.
Exactly. We did not even wait. So that's it. You see, that is why I'm saying is that we have done this before. Those who happen to declare support for other opponents, the party automatically rejected because it says that in the constitution, sir, automatic. Automatic means we are not giving you chance to come and defend and tell us Argentina will decide to declare. So that is where it does not allow that natural justice, and yet we practice it in this country. There's nothing wrong with it. So me, I think, the best decision taken by Afanyo to take refuge at the Supreme Court for Supreme Court to decide to keep calm in this country, is the best decision. And I think if we have anybody to blame, the selfishness and the greediness of our own people. The party sponsors you to go to Parliament. You go and spend 2 times. The third time you want to go, you lose primaries, and you say, me call independent against the party that took you to Parliament. Are we not looking at this as wrong? And yet,
what the minister
Masa, you see,
now process is now with this selected candidates. Yeah,
no matter what it is, because there is no fairness in in politics. There is no fairness everywhere in any election. You can never get perfect election anywhere. We have had cause to complain about our own internal primaries. What I say, my co-elections. What I say. The first say, and says you go against the loyalty that you're supposed to expose for the party.
Are you then, one would say, encouraging or more active with impunity? Say
it's not about maintaining. It's about you as an individual, your own loyalty and commitment to the party. The party, you have benefited from it, and what you're doing, you see, I will say that the way you see Chan was so dry. Now, when in the politics, Akufo-Addo, I think never know. Why in the time Ghana? I go with your mama. It has become part of this country. So, Obidu Atem. You constituency, and you are going against the party that brought you, and the aim is to ensure say of course
to tell the truth, I apologize profusely. I was momentarily distracted.
You are apologizing on whose behalf?
I apologize for.
Anyway, I leave it to public opinion. I leave it to public opinion.
Man, it will be difficult on my part.
It is becoming their recent phenomenal social behavior.
The system also so genuinely because my young swap.
No.
Oh no! Yay! But when I will complaining.
Oh yeah. Anyway, that's
you are complaining. And the papa moi, me handless here to match the they should quickly draw my attention. Oh, solo. See, yes, be asthma. Mante. I take me by surprise, and then I got distracted. Now, me per se. Adia me man no na based on the complaint from Amalebano. I mean the could Jinanos why insist say you say and me patchel say I will not preside over a program say you denigrate from a president. No.
That is a beautiful the beauty of judicial advocacy.
And solo in all this unity government of national unity.
Government of national unity. Where's the tension? Where's the tension? Ben ye be ya ye be ko yenim. Eye kodwo nkabom ya odi be ya. Kodwo chema tin kabom ya odi be ya na. every day in a day they give meaning to why or see independent candidate ba be president but over be sha share ma memfa aseda PSA emma asantemantemfo nyina se ena no memenda enipa epuba montenso a na omu hye yelo a omu di nse kantam se omu be esewu sa oman yentie ne hwe de be mamo de be kanyina ne se aseda nko a se mama movement na ya kono a ene obia hwe movement atade ne location election abaye kotoyi ebeye massive oba you see me start here free baby Peter is ewie me feel say Ghana for so omo one more aye omadwe so meko independent contest as independent candidates nyina abaso na me Andrew kwa Esiama MP for mena mesupa mesu in the sense that now we have been told say omo ye omadwe so mbeko content kro no omo ye nipa bonefo adaya yentie omo asem ye party say boni bia ye dia ye obia mene obi akotena ba bi say wo dia mi hwe wani ma ye tuntum eye fufuo onka me ho enti yenyu mfirim kro amene enye sana yo bo ni wiase ebo ni wiase indeed the obo ni wiase call aso dem ana nkofo kra de ho ada ne chachato ni bufui ono kra no se bibia ma ema wia nto ada se nwunu nto wabufu so ni bufui eno nti da kire se pere ye ena e wo se at all material time ede nti Cynthia Morrison kwadwa asante dachi Ghana ma be kan mo dachi Ghana ma be hu se mo na ma ye de ye me say Esiama I am disappointed so was I go back to the new patriotic party after the omudi ye wunyina ba ne nyina mu no enchire ma no e ba bebuaye se de ye eya na se enye ofa ena no a asem no bitie NPP for na mehwe afenyo na mesia film se ewiase we eye de se abefo enioma ba ene de oka na nra no ene ebetumi abo amawo se mehwe the November 2020 ruling of Speaker Michael Kwe professor ya mamoremfi obi a wo ya professor se nwumanim kunini a wasua obemfu mu bemfu wasua mra constitutional law oka ye be bo prof din na prof ma that ruling say we declare seat ni vacant for mena seat abra na Andrew Kwabnesiama eteso na ye nya a lawyer for ene omo na ekire ye law maxim from Portuguese to Brazil to everywhere and so satan no bia mowa na ye ebe ye president da lasa na nhwesode da ho seat ye declare vacant na sankofo ya ene mabrewa okasem bi kire mo se kama na wo ye adwuma sisi ano enye kama slow kama fast kama no oye ne nyoma ntentem na sankofo ya nanu ya na omo support a certain position na ene de omo na esa fight against their own position to the sense that now we are members of the new patriotic party in 2020 omo about Speaker Okwe's ruling ka se dey disagree ewiase we power yes benya enkwa tenten tell be ya obehu send nipa etumi dare no to say chameleon now all of a sudden mind you that decision by the new patriotic party and as a letter now John Boadu then was the chief executive officer of the new patriotic party and it was the petition be akọ parliament a new patriotic party and a diako omo dey call say ye declare seat vacant and you declare vacant na sadie yes na say Speaker Agban Bagman I take you no so yes say yetikwa pai na me afiti na koi constitution bi amato bi amede kwa koma be bi ameto no so omonye omade because their lawyer for the person yeti ase ne say ase brofo ne yetro de saa wo me na tro brofo ne mai ti bibia ni a law ne ntra saa enu ti ehu hia se be kan constitution ni bi the article 97G eka no ehu hia the article 99 eka ehu hia the okwe ye no ehu hia enu ti ena baby you see offer idea your friend internal politics and the mafia about be ye too rampant. Then here I agree with Peter say, if I were him, I'll take the position say you declare seats no vacant because it's vacant. But automatically I'm not a member of the MPP. I don't need the party executive to write to me. Say, yeah, trouble the car was when your member. I have forfeited it. I don't know, Brano. Anything, I didn't away acquire ifs or buts. But in Akobasa because any parliamentary one acquire hang parliament. Other parliamentarians now at one so Alpha or mine no door. And let me tell Ahmed Ibrahim, my they say majority chief, other deputy majority chief. Or say leadership here, no. Or mind to me and build the consensus. Parliament is so full of consensus building. And the year Juma. Now the leadership want to build the consensus. Of Abebusa who say Parliament no one they represent Ghana interest. Obia take party lines. Obia to party lines. To the extent say you to be general secretaries of these two parties are Manso so the last 32 years see no so much track or mukokos in Parliament say this is party decision. Abra yinya to Obama as a parliamentarian. We now could do Parliament wa you represent an entire constituency, not a political party. And so you general secretary. Na wono na tro akwa akoma. Now for the do we say Supreme Court ruling na ebebe. The ebesie nyina na say omo ruling here. Ye betumi abase Supreme Court beka say oko Parliament kura na to be switch. The next election no na say one kwa eno ano no. Anything movement for change here. Obi a candidate, independent presidential candidate. Obi wina your friend said the first independent president of the land. Me be fear ha propaganda dem no say. Oral antemate wini wie na 21 ministers okwa ye free parliament no. Okobo MP before di omumma, okobo NDC for di omumma. Ade tire mani nyu.
Okay.
Esan say, the bebe ne say, wa mu call parliament oral antemate win ya rule be free Supreme Court beba no. You are free to declare so you're independent. What be you minister? Now we enyefe. But you see the judiciary no offer. Enya judge for no gwana. Ye ka say omodwuma so anyu. Registrar for any bailiffs ni womo ye more dangerous and deadly than anybody. Subaya womu deadly e wo man mu ha no. Enu kura no undermine judiciary than anybody. Aya nshan kan ya ebedum na bi no court kura no obi anko enuti ya bedum pempenso because of yania pa yempeni pa ye processes yemfa nya adwuma trimodie ye de political parties mu emra enya adwuma pani mu no na ade no ye black cross ye white mu nyina mu ni so na eno no obi a want to be contain no so media mempere meko independent sankofo no mu na nyame be hia na be di twa to ofa Mestre say we are bo also for Pong Duncan Williams. Ni preaching and as an empire no obono. Oba boka krama me. Obedi ka sembi. Was it do not vote for foolish people? Very instructive. Do not vote for people that put partisan interest.
A group time when I'm a ball.
They say, "Yeah, come on, me." And don't quite enough. Yes, of political and want to buy independent candidate. Very important.
7 minutes apiece. Peter Nesha said this time round. Tell us why we should vote for your party, your candidates all over.
Yes,
7 minutes.
I think, sir, what has happened in Ghana. And in our parliament, you know, Ghana for Yebesremo, we shouldn't allow such a thing to happen again. I believe that the best thing that should happen in this country, and it's the party that will win the presidency. I mean, the party that will win the presidency should win absolute majority in parliament, and we are hoping, say, come 2024, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ebe winning. Na members of parliament and so ya win absolute seat na yet me amanage enema ye because near no a chaos. It shouldn't happen. In fact, near air cost Mesre, Supreme Court, and I think what Afanyo should do, Afenyo Markins should do, and I think our Supreme Court should also cooperate, say they should not pass any ruling until after the election on this matter. Other than that, whichever way it goes, it will still cause serious chaos in Parliament. Ntibesre say Supreme Court should not pass any ruling on this matter until after the elections. Now, if Enramete say nipa mienu a omu gyina mu ema NPP, so omu call independent no, omu sign are rescinded, they've rescinded their decision.
Earlier, almost no can be asa.
Me pa sure. Well,
anytime, anytime, man can asem.
Minim say emu de hena enye nokre, emu de hena enye nokre because two statements about bontin. Baako eba bontin wa meka say enye nokre. And a second one about bontin and also so and a yatis and crofo say or say enye nokre. So I didn't first one about bontin wa meka enye nokre. So it is also possible say second one na crofo and who say heat or system no the enye propaganda from the meka home say enye nokre. We can only get to know this if there is any evidence say omacholete e dey call isi ho say ade no oma withdraw omonko biwa. And I think if they do that, it is very good for themselves, it is very good for the party that they claim they love, and it is very good for the country, because we should not entertain this kind of thing in this country. We should try as much as we can to adopt good practices. You cannot be so disloyal and show that ungratefulness to the party that sponsored you to go and spend 2 terms in Parliament, and you go against one term. Yes, and I'm not saying this against only the NPP MPs now. And this is so independent, and I think that we shouldn't entertain this. You see, lawyer, you see the possibility. I am seeing the future. The possibility, say, if we allow this to continue in this country, the next election or the next 2 elections or the next 3 elections, 20 members of parliament belonging to one political party can declare, say, hey, you're independent. The possibility and the likelihood is that all the 20 seats that belong to that political party can be lost to the opposition party, because Omo Ankasa Betekis a vote maybe. Now the sponsored members now party now sponsor now a opposition now for mu. If we don't take care, this is what is going to happen in this country. We shouldn't allow this. Yeah, the members of parliament will have absolute powers to the point say, oh, don't back on baby and be to me come home here. A bin and we see what parliament. I was so furious and I was so upset. Say, our own members of parliament who hold press conference and force the president. A president elected by the people say, if you don't sack this minister, why must this happen in this country? You fold the hands of the president. The president should be the last person that anybody can fold his hands.
The president should not be surprised.
You see, and yet it nearly happened in this country. Assuming say, members of parliament, you couldn't even decide say young Kong president, not the high young country.
I saw so much no.
No, honorable. Yeah. Assuming that when president wanted to respond to that. I mean, I'm talking about common sense. I mean, you can apply it anywhere, anytime. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
When president wanted to respond to them, and a president press conference, and a response now they buy no. Ono mushia catch on so can and kadebe na kibesi. And the best say we should adopt good practices in this country. What is happening in this country at our parliament is not good. And I think the party that wins this election should win absolute majority in parliament. Yeah.
The party that wins this election may not have president may not belong to them.
It doesn't matter.
You see a consensus building.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I will not even go there. We want to bring in your allowance, but that's up to you. But the point I'm making is that The point I'm making is that even please, I have my 7 minutes. Let me finish.
No, I'm not going to take this. The way you
I have my 7 minutes. Please.
No.
I have not brushed aside Allah.
We don't come here to disrespect.
I have not shown any disrespect. I'm saying that he wants to talk about Alan.
How can you describe your Alan Chama?
But he belongs to. He's not your Alan Chama. He's not your Alan Chama. Is my Alan Chama?
Oh, can your Alan Chama? Can you hear?
Uncle, American boy, one country. I can say. Masa wouldn't be big. What am I making myself so? Maybe you just want to distract. The nim. So, and I think that ADAKABRI. Yeah, there's one seat that is automatically going to be declared vacant, no matter what. The one that is an independent today in Parliament that has decided, say, in the next election, he is now a member of NPP and is going to go on a ticket of NPP. That seat automatically is a vacant seat. It's a vacant seat because you cannot have two positions in Parliament. You can only have one position. You cannot be there. Politics now Ghana. I think, sir, we need to stop it. We need to practice good practice. Let's adopt it. So, sure. Say, these two or the three, almost as I decided, almost I go back. They resign their position now. Another danger is there. Now we're going to have equal numbers. Let's Yampire say NDC no ma on resigning in position. Now you include to know there or more resident. Then we continue with our majority in Parliament. We have less than 2 months to the election. We need that. We need that cool head to prevail in the country so that we can end the year with peace.
Why is also the 7 minutes? No, Maliba of the NDC. Your 7 minutes starts.
What for me that say? MPP one. They are living in the political. They are riding a political high horse, and unfortunately, that horse also is drunk. Ponkona or motesono, ponkona bo, the otesono swabo, the obedi and abono. Why you drunk with obsession of power? Forgetting that the power belongs to the people. So we should see the failure markings. Eki came to Parliament to turn inside left, right, center, doing all kind of gestures now. Offer it speaks one language: arrogance, condescension, and disrespect of the mandate of the people. Because almost some Brazilian or Mumua. Now say I'm passing genuinely. Omoji to me at the best songs of the Omo Kana. You wouldn't sit on any platform. Tell the Kofi Jumokano Kumasa say NPP near what board them no call NDC. Not you never fear no about NPP. How can you say that? What dig gonna for in atom? No, what dig gonna for in atom? What dig gonna for in atom? Now question is now on what NPP more than no meba. If that is the someone say the car.
Who said that?
Why? Your friend, go.
Who said what?
Well, your question.
Oh, come on, you do that.
Which one is all that?
No.
Maybe one-on-one.
I respect.
2 minutes over
Come on.
That's okay. 3 minutes over. We the time. What did he have? Oh, Jenny Hunter, and no. Woman named Samayon Ayeno. And you're drinking it. Okay, natural justice. Do you understand what you are talking about? You can natural justice. How do you understand it? You don't need to even be a judge or a lawyer to understand what is meant by natural justice, because what is good for the goose is only good for the gander. Do unto others as you want them do to you.
Yes.
Fairness. What is fairness? Engineer no fly by more about no 10,000 ama what I say. One chairman Minusulu. One chairman Okay, faster than offer. Well, you've 2,002 aside Malaba only solo munche. Or the 2 solo times can say the bottle of Mammy 500 also the Akan or the Kufi. You made that. You see, treat people with fairness and disrespect. And if they have issues within, address them. Nana Ohinento, former general secretary of the MPP. Okasembi, or see the party is at odds of its own self. Come on, no one, Omoko National Council meeting now. They threaten them. And no matter every means possible. We are Alani, you bet you are free, we are Kufonipa, you bet you are free. That mafiaism from somewhere to take over the party, no, and no one be do her. And sadly for them, Omabenya leaders are so arrogant, disrespectful, who doesn't even have common sense, let alone to apply it. So they all advocate to Ahano. If that is not the case, over, I am telling you, NPP can govern this country with even 2 MPs in parliament. 2 MPs. What do you do? Consensus. If you are a leader, what makes you a leader? Negotiation and lobbying is part of leadership skills, particularly in politics. Asambe na ba yede ababomuda, anadi tu abom. Yini paro ni edeka. Haruna Idris nomne Dr. Kesel ato force or more parliament no. Said you omona year for. I don't know the same colleagues among Muko school. But your arrogance will not even allow you to go to these people and address them as co-equals. What as for instance, someone can say, Yamfa letter and fanko big speaker ho say none of the seat have been declared vacant by or more party and NDC. Men fire memoir. But I'm asking you, Beba, you made a statement to that effect. What the catcher say? To trigger Article 97. The Constitution demands that. Beba, the Constitution demands that. No, please, senior, stop that. The Constitution demands that a letter should be sent or notification must come from the political party through which the MP came to Parliament or which sponsored the MP to Parliament. Constitution
that's why you're independent.
Well, the Constitution cures that. And looking at Dr. Siam or the Honorable Siama, smart as he is, he's a lawyer. Yabusa say, which side will you go? Or say, I won't go to other side, but I will do business with MPP. I will do business with MPP. It's different from joining MPP. Because, so can somebody join MPP? Article 97(1)(h) will kick in.
It's immediate. It's
it kicks in immediately. And it's will declared vacant. Now, what do you do Supreme Court? The Supreme Court should injunct the Speaker to stay his ruling. No problem. Yes, the Supreme Court member of Parliament by enforcing the ruling. Forgetting that, in the case of Baker versus Carl in the U.S., 1932, the Supreme Court of the United States, a judge clearly said, and some why your political issues. Yes. Now, should the court now, which is very dangerous precedent, the court meddle in politics than the law, because court may say, after marking spirit before the court, if he went there with the ex parte motion, without the other party, no say, my laws, money bibi, say a must speaker, son of what kind of two more, and this is by a majority, or more majority are. Or mobile reconstituted committees not be taking over. About the suburb of government business. Now court and see a jail to speak and stay. Can you imagine this? A Supreme Court to a Supreme Shrine. Or more divination or court war. To be able to summarize and some caution nipa dream. When the catcher court may say even say a constitute committees now. The NDC MPs will not do business with the MPP government. Who told them that? And what for? And you might question now. A blatant interference of the judicial arm in the politics of the country, which will set a very bad precedent going forward. MPP, say, you cannot put something on nothing and expect it to stand. Majority na mole bomb once for you didn't get it all. Nipa 8 in a woo yet to make you a majority. No yanko ponso ja DNA and yawodia on him call befa or be Jeffrey Winsem. Yes, you a parliament, no. Niamti Omoka came in and say they are out of government already. NPP will lose the elections. Now signals na free parliament abano. As for the NPC, they may catch Ghana for you say. Omampini Kufuado had a comfortable majority in the first time. And nothing of Pamela Siama Ambunuje. So, and nothing of Timmy just a majority so. A bomb Siama de Ghana.
Okay.
We need the same majority for President John Dramani Mahama to reset the country and build the Ghana we want together. Inshallah, we will get there.
Amen. Now is the turn of Solomon Usu. Now our request is a more empire man. Empire man. It is solo empire in here. Yapon.
Hey! Let them be massacred. Let them be massacred. Let them be massacred. Obia was saying yes, let them be massacred. Man, to about me for. Also for Pompa, you win, Miss Row, and we be a bomber. Now, we're not effective to preach in a preaches. Bringing the right set of human skills, human resources in this country to occupy the right positions. Yen for one more bit to me a yen humano and set the right position. Said the beya, minu me and Humberto, yen yanisa, and that show us of Pono Ebufua or Bossam, but then buy no funnel. Try a behow. Because I drew baby was a yakata one tears here. Now all fretted to a diffuano, Tamunya Jumano. And now no, I buy na me ba me take question here because of pon which put it no dey kasa no a and now no so for pon otabe so say hwe na man hwe mobile phone so ya consistent and fan to mo conscience
mobile phone
Archbishop what hey slay massacre was here pamo mu nyina mfiri so ta na yemfa ma obi a obedwene Ghana ho
okay
na sa ni pa ni ora lan chema tie da so for pose aso ma mu ntie ni ye
Ofa
na mo goto abapa mo ora
final comment
Ofa final comment okay
the final comment ya ye na asia me de be ma asante mantemfo Ofa me nda wie ye me nda atwa na eye nika sani o musibe be da odo kire ora lan chema nte wa asante mantem no Ofa ya kasa asante reading ora lan chema nte nya na nye 60%. Eno nti de ekosi memenda no na akonfirm na ma men kanche meburu no so ade bia mo frame ne say digital platform no ho de bia mo say amuru afi me sa kai mo 3mjgh.com boko on mo fa mo CV ne nkoto so because victory ne eba first 1.5 years no ye create 3 million jobs enye jobs kekese mo kwakọ prani amamo 50-50 where you good jobs mo benye sika botina mo betumi e dia average family na ni nyina yo rala nchemante ensa no nyuma me na say
yes you that was say
Wofa
amalega
Wofa hopes na doye ya doye wo krum ha ti obi amichia no sa doye na Ghana force ni je ho pa na me makoje bosia wo Swiss bank me kokra 1 million wheelbarrows me dia bre no na odi abo na djuma na oye no yakopon shira Ghana
right
unshabo nyina
engineer Njubu say a final comment
hopes na doye ni person so anyway anyway the best say Ghana for manhu de ekoso ye best say mumma yenhwema saa asem ya akoso parliament e Ghana ha no hang parliament no e bi NCBO na yemma nipa obewin election no onya absolute majority in parliament no ntimi mfamwa o minor senia yenyina enim say Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia ne twase ye de tumi ma no na oni the members of parliament ebeboa o minor no de o minor konanim
right Yafasida Emfama engineer Njubu Asiako of the she after Joseph kokore de koso
Ofantoko bi esi o sika chemu
come on
sam ko fa eyifo no
yapon
itoko esi o we de mama